Aloha, it's Miriam, and in this video I want to talk about the implements because this coming November I will begin teaching you how to play instruments and choreography to go along with it on my Patreon channel. So I want to let you know how to choose them and what to pick. So here I have some of my instruments. We're going to start with the Pu'Ili. The Pu'Ili is bamboo sticks, in case that you didn't know. And where I buy my instruments, I have done some of them, but the ones that I have bought have been at Aloha Hula Supply. That has been the best place for me. I have bought some from Etsy. So that's up to you when I tell you all the specifications, where do you want to buy them. But in my halal, we have been buying a lot of merchandise from Aloha Hula Supply since, geez, probably for 15 years. So I trust them in their quality and their things, okay? But Pu'Ili is basically bamboo sticks. Those are just cleaned up bamboo sticks and slits created. Now in the Aloha Hula Supply, they do have two kinds. These ones are the Hawaiian bamboo. You can also find really cheap ones, like literally for like $1 or $2 in like party supplies, like in Party City online or on Amazon, but they sound bad. Okay, I used to buy those for my students, the little Heke, the kids, just because I knew they were gonna be a little harsh on them, because these ones are a little more pricey. But for my professional students and dancers, I always told them to buy the Hawaiian ones because they sound differently, and I gave away the cheap ones, so I cannot show them to you, but they basically sound very harsh. It seems that the bamboo is not as thin and soft as this one. Also, the slits are way thicker. Like these ones are very carefully carved because it's an art truly to make those things. Now this one is split, it's normal, especially if you live in a hot place. Like I live in Arizona, it gets hot, so it's normal for the wood, the bamboo to, expand and contract. But I was telling you about the cheap ones. You can buy them if you're not sure, if you don't want to spend a lot of money for now. That's okay, buy them. But they definitely have a harsh sound. And I don't know, they just feel harder to play. Like these ones have certain softness to it when they hit each other. And the way that they sound is just a more pleasant sound, okay? Now, if you go into the Aloha Hula Supply, I'm not sure about other places, but the diameter will change, and they will tell you, small, medium, or large, and more or less tell you what diameter is. This one is not the biggest one that I have. I like bigger ones. I like thicker diameter, but I'm going to tell you this one is about 1.25 inches, okay? That's the diameter. So the ones that I have are almost 2 inches. They're maybe 1 3/4 inch or to 2. So those are harder to get, but they're better because they will help get a grip on your hand. So this one I told you is 1.25 inches. So when you close your hand, if this is smaller, like if it's 1/2 inch or whatever, you're literally holding into such a tiny thing that it's hard to feel good when you're hitting them. And I have small hands. So if you have larger hands, you definitely want the larger size. If it's for a kid, it's fine, but definitely an adult, I will go for the biggest size available. There are up to 2 inches. Very few are that big, but at least 1.5 inches, I would say, on diameter here. Okay, let me tell you the length on these ones, but they all should be pretty much about the same length if you're buying from a professional place. That is not just somebody that carved whatever, right? So these ones are 20 inches in length, okay? 20 inches long is a perfect size, in my opinion, for adults, okay? So now we're gonna be talking about Ipos. So I'm gonna show you the different ipus. This is one that I made. They're called ipu heke ole because they don't have the top, so they're not the double gourd ipus, they're single gourd ipus, right? Those ones are the one for just one hand. Now this one I made it so you can't see like all the like natural stuff and things that I I scratched it out when I was like heating it, but cleaning it. But this is like my favorite one. And this is not the perfect ipu for me, but I'm going to tell you why, and this is what you have to look for when you are buying yours if you're going physically there, okay? So this part is called the neck, this part. And if it's too small, it's the same as the Pu'Ili. It's going to be hard for you to just be holding something really thin. So for my hand, because I told you I have small hands, it's hard for me to get this part of my hand to touch it, and even my hand doesn't even wrap around well to hold it. But I love the sound on this one. I love it because it's really fat down here and it has thin skin and it has a bigger hole. So this one I love, is my favorite. But I already know when I'm dancing that it's gonna be slipping from my hand. It's like I'm gonna have to be holding it a lot tighter, okay? But I just wanted to show you that. So you can go and pick, if you're going to a place physically, you can go by sound and see how it feels on your hand, okay? But if you're not, or you can send them a message, like ask them to not give you a very thick one, because this one, for example, it has a lot of thick skin. I'm going to show you two so you can see. See how different the rim is? So this one that is thicker is harder to play. Like when you hit it, you have to hit a lot harder, and the sound that creates is not as echoey as the other one, which is fine. I mean, it's a beautiful ipu still, but definitely the thickness here makes it a little bit harder to play and to have that clear sound, okay, because the walls are thicker. This one we also made it, okay. Now this one I bought it, and as you can see, this one has a chiny on. The one that we bought has a cute little chine on. I bought it at Aloha Hula Supply, and I believe this was a medium ipu. So I'm gonna tell you more or less. This has perfect neck for me, for my hands, which grabs the half at least, or a little bit more than the half of the neck. That will be the perfect thing. It has the string to hold it. You don't need the string, but at least you'll be feeling more secure when you're holding it, because sometimes when you're dancing your hand gets sweaty, and if this falls to the floor, it's kind of like glass, sorry, it will crack. So that would be very sad. So let me tell you how high this is, okay? Because if you buy it like from Aloha Hula Supply or any like Etsy or place like that, they are probably gonna tell you more or less the height. So this one is 11.5 inches high, okay? 11.5 inches high, and is about 8 inches wide. Not diameter, just 8 inches wide. So that's more or less what you're looking for if you're an adult. That's what I would go for. There is a place that I have a friend in, but I don't think he has a website, but his name is, well, you can find him on Facebook as Ipu Farm. His name is Kalim. He's pretty famous, but he has a gourd farm, and that's what he does. Like, he literally does workshops to do this. He's based in California and in Hawaii. Like, he goes back and forth. So I have bought some stuff from him. I think that's actually where I made this one. I went on a workshop with him. So, that's something that you want to look at when it comes to ipu heke ole, making sure that your hand fits here, and the height and the thickness, okay? So if you're buying it from a place that is online where you cannot see them, at least you can ask them. So you can measure your hand, for example, measure from your index to your thumb, more or less, and you're saying, like, say mine is like 7 inches. So let's say you go around this thing, around the neck. So you go around the neck, and let's see more or less how much is that. Ooh, this is 11 inches. So more or less you want to make sure that your hand, the neck is like at least, okay, I'm trying to think. So you want your hand to be able to hold more than the half, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. More than the half of the neck. So you can measure this part in here and just double it and tell them, you know, you want it to be no bigger than that diameter for the neck of the ipu, because this is called the neck. Okay, I hope I'm making sense. And I think this one that I bought online was actually medium size. It will tell you there, you know, like medium size is gonna be from, I don't know, 11 inches high to 14 inches high or whatever like that. So it's gonna be something along there. They can all work, but it's just better ways to just have a better ipu, in my opinion, if you cannot physically go there. Because I have gone in the past to like gourd festivals and stuff, and you can actually see them and touch them, and of course they come close in here, but at least you can get a hit and feel when you're knocking on them and see if they are thicker or thinner. You can see the height, you can see how heavy they are, you know, like all those things. You can touch the neck. Okay, now the other one that I want to show you is the Uli Uli. Also, you can buy very cheap Uli Uli, but they are not the professional ones. So I used to have those. They're usually made in Fiji, and they are made out of coconut. So the bottom here, instead of being candle nut tree, is gonna be coconut. So they look similar, but they're not the same. And this one has seeds inside, whether the other ones had like little pebbles. So I don't have them to show them to you anymore because I gave them all away. I only kept the professional, and this will also be very small. It will be about just the size of the yellow thing. So they're not going to be the professional kind. I have this one and this one, so you can see that one is a little bit bigger than the other one. You know, it's just a little bit bigger than the other one in diameter. Okay, the bottom part is gonna vary, and they usually come in pairs if you buy them at the Aloha Hula supply. If you're serious about hula, I recommend that you really buy the professional ones. They do make a difference in the way you play them and in the way they sound when you're playing them. Okay, I bought the other ones, the cheap ones were like 30 bucks or so, because I had little Heke and I didn't want them to ruin these ones that are so pricey, or are way more pricey. Okay, so let me measure. I'm gonna measure here the width of the tops of the Uli Uli. So this one is 10, and this one is 11. So 11 inches from here to here. So they sell them also same thing, small, medium, large. I usually always buy this the medium ones for me, and for the kids that were intermediate, I will always choose the small ones. Okay, so that's up to you if you want bigger, but at least this will give you some idea on how long they are and how they look, you know, so that you can see them or imagine them when you're seeing them online, and that you can't see them physically, right? So because when you go online, and especially if you go to the Aloha Hula supply that I told you, like they have the measurements there and you choose, but sometimes you don't know how to choose. Okay, so that's what you're looking for when you're trying to choose Pu'Ili, Uli Uli, or Ipu Heke Ole. And I hope this video helped. Let me know if you have any more questions in the comments. And if you want to join the classes, you can join at any time on Patreon. It's full of videos there for you. I have over 60 videos with routines, choreography, kahiko and awana, and how to do the steps, practice for hula, and I'm about to start to teach you how to play these instruments, okay? So I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye!